Hi, thanks for joining us for the Family Plot, Gardening in the Mid-South. I'm Chris Cooper. Armadillos like to eat bugs, but in the process, they can tear up your yard. We're going to show how to trap them. Also, everyone loves seeing butterflies in the garden. Today, we're going to talk about monarchs. That's just ahead on the Family Plot, Gardening in the Mid-South.
Production funding for the Family Plot, Gardening in the Mid-South is provided by the WKNO Production Fund, the WKNO Endowment Fund, and by viewers like you. Thank you.
Welcome to the Family Plot. I'm Chris Cooper. Joining me today is Mr. D.
Howdy, howdy.
And Mary Smith will be joining me later. All right, Mr. D, I see we have a trap here.
We have a trap.
What are we trying to trap?
Armadillos.
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 Okay. All right.
Fortunately, armadillos aren't the smartest critter in the world.
Okay.
You don't even have to bait an armadillo trap. You just need to be where they are.
Okay.
And you need to understand a little bit about their habits, and they tend to go along barriers until they find grub worms. That's what they're looking for.
Right.
And when they find grub worms, they start going crazy, and they will aerate your lawn.
Oh, they would tear it up.
More than you want it aerated.
I know that from
guarantee
experience.
that. One thing we've learned is because armadillos aren't that smart, if you attach wings to a regular trap, they will go along and they'll bump one of the wings, and they'll go the other direction, bump the other wing, and just kind of keep going back and forth, and they'll go on in the trap, and so you really don't even have to use bait.
Wow. How about that?
If you want to use bait, a rotten fruit is one of the things that might work. Not because they like fruit, because they like the maggots and the worms that are in that rotten fruit.
Okay.
And so
Makes
you could
sense.
use rotten fruit if you wanted to. I don't think it's really necessary.
Yeah, so no bait. Okay.
But we've got the wings here ready to go, and you can use either a 1x4 or a 1x6, and 6 feet long is long enough. I'm going to drill a couple of holes in them so that I can use wire or cable tie to attach them to the trap.
Okay, gotcha.
How about that?
There you go. I think that worked. There you go.
There you are.
Yeah.
Now that actually looks like we measured it and got the exact same measurements right there, correct?
Man, that worked just,
Okay.
just perfect.
All right. Let's set these aside just a little bit.
Okay.
I'll let you hang on to those.
Yeah.
And we're going to set it up first over by a fence, and it's good to, armadillos tend to go along barriers, so if you have a fence where they're creating damage, set it up close to the fence, or a line of shrubs or a ditch or something like that would be good. And then, but if they're just out there in your yard and you don't, and they're doing quite a bit of damage, we know you probably got grub worms, then just set it up and we'll use both wings. So I'm gonna go ahead and set it up right over here, something like this. And I'm gonna actually use the fence as one of my wings.
Okay.
And hang that right there. So let me go ahead, let me have one of those boards. And I'm gonna set it up something like that right there. And on this side, I think I'm just gonna wire it on. This is a pretty good piece of wire. I think I've got pliers right there.
Look at that. Got it. Yeah.
Don't have to be that. Don't have to do anything fancy there. Okay, now let me do one more.
Got it. How about that?
Yep. That's that.
So that's it.
You don't have to, I mean, they're not good at untying stuff, I don't think. The way you set these traps, they've got a mechanism here to keep this from coming back. You have to lift that mechanism and let that slide back. Then I'm going to go down and grab the door. Continue sliding it out of the way. Need to make sure that that will close. It's catching a little bit on there. Let me come back out a little bit. I want to make sure that the wire is not going to impede the door shutting.
Look at that.
Let's see that one. Wow. Test it to make sure it'll work.
Uh-huh. I think it
Voila.
worked.
It'll work.
So what happens? You catch the armadillo, then what?
You need to check with your local authorities. Check with local wildlife folks. In a lot of areas, it's illegal to transport wild animals. So what you check and see what you can't do.
Okay.
And if you can't transport them, and it's not a good idea to transport them anyway, because you're giving your problem to somebody else. So
Oh boy.
just do what, man's got to do what a man's got to do.
Right.
Figure out some way to dispatch them.
All right.
And if you've got one, you probably have 3 more, because armadillos have 1 litter per year. They are, from one egg, they're identical quadruplets. Either they'll have 4 males or 4 females.
Okay. How about that?
So if you get one,
You got some
you
more.
may have 2 or 3 more,
Okay.
unless they get taken out on the highway.
And when are they most active?
From twilight until just after sunrise during the summertime.
Yeah.
During the wintertime, they're active during the daytime.
In the daytime. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I want to pull it up, and I'm going to move it over here and attach the other wing and show you kind of how it'll look when
Okay.
you have it set up outside. We'll use zip ties on the other side. It might be, it might work a little bit better. We've already got our holes drilled.
Mm-hmm. There it goes.
Get that out of the way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that really works better than the
Yeah.
wire, because
A whole lot better.
these are out of the way.
Right.
Even though I don't think that's going to be a problem here. We'll raise this again. I'm wearing gloves, not
Yes.
so much to keep from injuring me, but just, I guess it's a habit of mine to always wear gloves when I'm dealing with any kind of traps, to maybe mitigate the human scent a little bit. But I'm going to actually open this up a little bit more. So there you are.
That is it.
You have an armadillo trap that's set up.
We're gonna make sure it works now.
Let's make sure it works.
Yeah, make sure it works. There it goes. How
Got
about
him.
that? Yeah.
It's a good sound to hear if you have the windows up at night and you hear that noise. You know you caught your trap, caught your critter.
Mr. D, appreciate that demonstration. That was pretty good, man.
Good
I like
deal.
that.
Yeah.
Thank you much. What we have here is a nice thick stand of dove weed. Yes, dove weed. As you can see here, it has really taken over the Bermuda in this area. Dove weed is a summer weed. It's a summer annual weed. It actually grows by stolons. Dove weed produces a purple flower, as you can see here. It is not a grass weed though. It is different. It's related to some of your lilies. How do you control dove weed? There's a couple of ways. Culturally, a thick stand of Bermuda would definitely crowd out this dove weed. For a post-emergent, you have to use a 3-way herbicide, because again, this is more of a broadleaf weed instead of a grass weed. So something that contains 2,4-D, dicamba will work as well. So again, dove weed, which is a late summer weed.
All right, Mary, so monarchs, can you give us a little brief life history of the monarchs?
Sure. Monarchs are a large butterfly that people see often in their gardens, and it's really charismatic and colorful, and it has a unique life history too. It's a migrating butterfly, which there's a few that migrate, but what's really interesting about the monarch is it only migrates to Mexico every 4th generation.
Okay.
And that super generation, as we call it, lives maybe 4 to 6 months, where most of the ones that we see are only living a few weeks. So it's a really unique butterfly that unfortunately is in decline in the eastern United States. So what's really important, and I think we'll talk about it in just a minute, is how to attract them to your own backyard.
Okay. Why the decline, though?
Well, the decline is for a couple different reasons. One of it is a loss of overwintering habitat in central Mexico due to some illegal logging, which we can't do a lot about that. But what we can do is we're losing a lot of what the caterpillars eat, which is milkweed. And so we've lost a lot of that habitat. And also weather can really affect monarchs too. And so cold winters in Mexico and then during migration can affect them too. So those are the main reasons why the population has declined.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit more about the life cycle.
Okay. So the life cycle is pretty unique. One monarch butterfly can lay about 200 to 300 eggs.
Wow.
And what's really amazing about that too is they only lay 1 egg per leaf. So just one monarch needs a lot of milkweed to lay the eggs. A few days after they lay the eggs, they hatch and turn into a caterpillar.
Okay.
And that caterpillar, over about a 2 weeks' time, is going to grow about 2,000 times its original size. And how they do that is they're going to be just eating away at milkweed. And so they go through about 5 stages, or 5 instars, which is the stage in between their molts. And they're just eating and getting bigger. And then after about 2 weeks, they're going to form what we call a J shape. So they're going to find either the underside of a leaf, or maybe even a pot, or under the eaves of your house. And they're going to form a chrysalis.
Okay.
And so a chrysalis is a little bit different than a cocoon. A cocoon is what a moth forms, and a chrysalis is what a butterfly forms.
How about that? That's so neat.
Yeah, so this is a newly formed chrysalis, just formed over the last couple of days. This is a monarch chrysalis. And what happens is they undergo a number of changes inside of this chrysalis. And after about 9 to 14 days, they're going to emerge as the adult butterfly.
9 to 14 days.
9 to 14 days. So the whole process from egg to adult butterfly usually takes about a month. So this is a really unique chrysalis too, as we were talking about earlier. Most of the chrysalis are really camouflaged, so they're going to be brown or look like a crinkled up leaf, whereas the monarch is a little bit different. It's this bright green, it's got some gold accent on it. And just really, to me, it looks like a really nice piece of jewelry.
Yeah, it does. It sure does.
So that, so they're just undergoing some changes inside there and turning into a butterfly.
Okay. Wow, it's a beautiful butterfly at that.
Yeah. Another really unique thing about the monarch is that you can actually tell the males from the females.
Okay.
And a lot of butterflies, there's not much of a difference, but in monarchs, you can tell the difference between the males and the females. And so males are going to have 2 scent pouches, which are here and here. The females do not have those scent pouches. So it's pretty neat. You can tell the difference between the males and the females just by those 2 black spots there.
And that's it?
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, both going to be about the same size. Both visit the same types of flowers, but just those 2 scent pouches are the difference.
Oh, okay. So how do we attract these wonderful butterflies to our
I
garden?
love talking about this because
Sure.
we've lost so much habitat. What we can do is we can plant things to attract them in our own backyards.
Okay.
The number one thing you want to plant if you want to attract monarchs is milkweed.
Okay.
And milkweed gets its name because if you pull a leaf off, it has kind of a milky sap that comes out. And that's actually really important for the caterpillar because it contains a toxin that makes the caterpillar taste really bad to predators like birds. And so that's what the monarch caterpillars are eating. And so we have a variety of different milkweeds here in the Mid-South that do really well. This one here that the caterpillar's on is
Yes.
common milkweed.
Okay.
And if you've got the space, this is a great one. It not only serves as a plant that the caterpillars eat, but the adult butterflies will also visit the plant whenever it's blooming.
Okay.
So common milkweed, it does get kind of tall. It can get about 5 to 6 feet, but it does get a nice ball, pinkish purple bloom on it. Another one, this is a non-native plant, but a lot of people like this one. It's a tropical milkweed. It grows really fast and it blooms throughout the summer. The one thing you may want to do is clip off the flowers in maybe late September, October, and that will keep the monarchs moving south during their migration. We also have a swamp milkweed, or rose milkweed, green antelope horn milkweed, butterfly weed. This is one that has the bright orange flowers. It's more low growing, maybe
Pretty
about
colors.
2
My
feet.
goodness.
Yeah.
That's UT orange.
Yeah, UT orange. There you go.
In addition to the milkweeds are going to attract the females to lay their eggs as well as a nectar source. You want to look at some nectar sources, especially fall blooming ones that are going to get monarchs as they're migrating south.
Okay.
And so some things as they're first getting to Memphis, things like coreopsis, mistflower, yarrow, pickerel weed if you have a pond or a water feature. Those are great spring blooming ones. And then in the fall, you want to look at things like blazing star, bee balm, buttonbush. Those are all going to be nectar sources.
Goldenrod.
Yeah, goldenrod. Yeah,
okay,
absolutely. And the benefit to planting those too is you're not going to just attract monarchs, but you're going to attract a variety of different butterflies as well.
Okay. Wow. So growing conditions, full sun.
Yeah, most milkweeds are going to be full sun. So if you've got a nice sunny spot, some of them do okay in pots. I've grown the tropical in pots before, but a lot of them do great in the ground, and they're going to come back year after year.
Sure. So how many generations again?
Well, there's about 4 to 5 generations. It starts with the first generation that is migrating from Mexico to maybe the Texas coast, and then each subsequent generation moves a little bit further north until they get about to the Canadian border, which is the northern limit of milkweed.
Okay.
That 4th or 5th generation is a super generation, and that generation is going to migrate all the way down to central Mexico. Passing through Memphis, usually we peak in late September, early October.
All right. Well, we appreciate that information again, but I do like super generation. I think that's pretty neat. Thanks again, Mary. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to do something that I don't normally do. I'm going to pull out my pruning shears in early September. Not an ideal time to prune, but you're going to understand why I'm not afraid to do that with this blackberry. It looks a little rough right now because the floricanes have already died. So any time is okay to prune when you're removing dead tissue. I'm not going to do anything to the primal canes until late winter. And I'm going to be very careful as I remove the floricanes because I don't want to damage any of this young tender tissue. And that's really easy to do if you just cut the floricane at the bottom and you try to drag it out of the trellis. I'm going to take it out in pieces so that I don't damage any of my young tender foliage. There is one other thing you can do pretty much any time. Get these long shoots, help support them a little bit, kind of direct them in the direction that you want them to go, and that might make them survive the winter winds a little bit better. Just gonna kind of thread them through here. You can actually tie them up if you like, but that's pretty much all I want to do with my blackberries this time of the year.
All right, Mr. D, it's our Q&A segment. You ready?
I'm ready.
Great questions, great questions. Here's our first via email. Hello, Dr. Chris. I live in southeast Louisiana in zone 9. I planted a passion fruit vine almost 3 years ago from seed. This year is the first year it produced flowers, but still no fruit. What am I doing wrong? I regularly fertilize once a month. Do I need to plant 2 different plants together to help pollinate each other? Please help. Mr. James from New Orleans, Louisiana. All right, so a couple of things here for me about the passion fruit vine. I know a little bit about that, right? Depends on the variety. There are some varieties that are self-fertile.
Exactly.
Okay? So if you don't have that, then you have the ones that are not self-fertile, which will need help with pollination.
Right.
Right. So poor pollination or lack of pollinators would be the issue.
That's probably the issue here. When you've got the
Yep.
pretty flowers like that
Pretty
and
flowers.
no fruit, then that tells you.
That tells you everything you need to know. And I'll tell you something else too that he did mention that I would say don't do. Regularly fertilize once a month. It's going to be too much.
You're probably pushing it a little bit too much.
That's going to be pushing too much. And yeah, we don't know what he's fertilizing with, but if it has any nitrogen in it, that's going to be a bit much.
That could be a problem too.
That's going to be a problem.
But I think you got it on the first one. I pulled up a publication from Florida about passion fruit, and it says.
Did it back me up?
I'm going to back you up.
Good.
Yeah, I'm going to back you up. Pollination is essential for fruit production. There are some of the varieties that are self-fruitful.
Right.
But purple passion fruit flowers are self-fruitful. So if you pull that up, you notice that is not purple.
Right.
While many purple-yellow hybrids, they may not be, probably aren't. And then the yellow ones are definitely not. That had some yellow in it, and they do require pollen from a compatible vine that is genetically different.
Good.
So don't get another one just like that.
Right. You get something that's
You
different.
need to get one that's different.
For cross-pollination? Yeah, get you some pollinators. Yeah, plant you some plants that the bees like, and maybe the bees can come by and do that. If not, you have to do it yourself.
Yeah, even carpenter bees. This says will do the trick. But hand pollination with a clean cotton
there you
glove
go.
or a
There you go.
paintbrush. Yep. Labor intensive.
Yeah, from the anther to the stigma. Yeah, so there you have it. So thank you, Mr. James. We appreciate that question and a beautiful picture.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you much. That's
Pretty.
real nice. All right, here's our next viewer email. Mr. D, I know you like this one. Do you have any advice on keeping squirrels from eating all my peaches? Callie in Bowie, Maryland. So do you have any advice for Miss Callie here?
We looked Bowie, Maryland up. Okay.
Yeah, we looked it up.
And we noticed that you're in a suburban area that probably doesn't allow shooting. But I even have a note down here, 12-year-old with a 20 gauge. You know, that's the best thing out there for squirrels. And now that I understand you're in a suburban area,
Right.
like we're here in Memphis, Tennessee,
Right.
it's kind of like that too. That complicates things a little bit. There are some really, really good pellet guns out there. You might want to check with your local authorities first and find out whether or not you can discharge a firearm in your area. If you can, shooting them is a good way to do it. It's one of the best ways. And if you can shoot them with a shotgun, that's really good because it's hard to miss. Then I probably wouldn't use a rifle unless I'm in a completely rural area, a 22 rifle or something like that. But a 20 gauge shotgun with light load ammo is most excellent. Now, if you can't do that, I've tried the pellet gun, but I would do some trapping. You can take one of your peaches and put it in a trap down at the base of the tree and see if you have a lazy squirrel that would rather go in a trap and get it.
Is there anything else you can bait the trap with outside of peaches?
Nuts.
Nuts,
They may
yeah.
prefer a pecan or,
yeah.
they really like that. But I don't know. Peach is hard to beat.
Yeah,
Even
I
a
agree
squirrel
now.
might prefer a peach
I agree.
over a pecan. But
It's just
tough.
so tough.
You
it's
can
tough.
try. You can get the sticky stuff that you can paint on the trunk of a tree.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You might want to try that. but your options are limited if you can't, you know, trap them and, you know, get rid of them.
It's gonna be limited.
Jack
Callie.
Russell, you got a
Jack
dog
Russell.
that you could kind of put your dog right out there, you know, tether it out under the tree, you know, till the peaches get ripe. You know, I say a Jack Russell. You may want to get you a Rottweiler, or, you know, but a Jack Russell will do the trick. I mean, they'll take care of the squirrel. But you know, that's a tough one.
It's always tough, isn't it?
That's a tough one, and it's not
Especially
only
in the
tough for
city.
peaches. It's tough for, you know, pears and apples and things like, you know, squirrels are, yeah, and they it doesn't take them long to get them all. You know, they get a taste of them and they go tell their neighbors, I think, and they come in there and they harvest them.
And they'll come and get them.
Sometimes they may just take a bite out of one
And just drop it and
grab
leave
another
it.
one.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, that is so tough. So yeah, it's gonna be tough.
I
Callie.
feel your pain.
Yeah, it's gonna
feel
be
your pain.
tough. So thank you for the question. It's deep fun as always. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
All right. Remember, we love to hear from you. Send us an email or letter. The email address is questions@familyplotgarden.com. And the mailing address is Family Plot, 7151 Cherry Farms Road, Cordova, Tennessee, 38016. Or you can go online to familyplotgarden.com. That's all we have time for today. Thanks for joining us. If you want to learn more about controlling critters in your garden or learn how to attract monarch butterflies, head on over to familyplotgarden.com. Be sure to join us next week for the Family Plot, Gardening in the Mid-South. Be safe.